Annette McCoy, delighted to be with you here as always. And today I have the lovely Robbie Holz with me. Robbie's from Holz.
Wellness, Holz Wellness.
Thank you. Nothing like a mind blank. And Robbie has a regular newsletter, which is where I got the idea for today's program, and it's called Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, I Am the Bestest of All. And I wonder how many of us can say that. Now, Robbie, before we get started and I say a little bit more about you, I'd like to invite people to come over to the Angel Heart Radio page, Facebook page, if you're watching anywhere else, because that's where you can make comments, and we do love to see your comments and feel that you're part of this show, which of course you are. So please go over there and so we can see what you have to say. And I also want to remind you that these programs and anything that is said here should never replace your legal, medical, nor professional advice, nor your own sound judgment. Sit back, enjoy, and see what you think of what we have to say. Robbie, yes, you have Holz Wellness. You are also the author of several books, the latest being Vibrant Living, which of course was fabulous too for people to see about their self-acceptance.
That's in there because that's a very important part of life as a human being on this journey that we're on. Yeah, absolutely.
It is, and it can be a hard one. Sometimes we don't realize that when we find it hard to accept a compliment, that's actually reflecting how we feel about ourselves.
It's true. And I've seen children accept compliments easier than I used to, you know. I don't know if it's just my DNA or my upbringing, but I had a really tough inner critic going on, and it didn't matter what I did and how much I got done. It was just never enough. So I had to, it's a life journey where you learn to accept even the bits that you don't quite enjoy as much about yourself, but it serves a purpose. And we can get into that, if you want to, but I think that it's important to recognize that each of us are designed exactly the way we need to be for this journey and what we're here to learn and master. So if I needed to be different, I would be different. If I needed to be taller, as you know, I'm very petite.
Yes.
If I needed to be taller or smarter or more athletic, I would be, but I am exactly the way I need to be for this journey. And so it's about learning to embrace all parts of yourself, recognizing it's here to help you evolve and grow and master what you're here to learn.
Right. Yes, we can be very, very hard on ourselves, can't we? Rather than, because I know I like to think that I'm perfect, and of course I'm not. It's really important that we understand that in this human life, yes, we are here to learn, and learning we are, but to be gentle with ourselves.
Absolutely. Be patient and gentle. It seems to me that we're a lot more compassionate towards others than we are sometimes to ourselves. And that's part of the lesson is, can you love yourself as much as you do others? But I think it's important to embrace the shadow and light in us. Embrace the shadow as much as you do the light, because it does serve a purpose. It is here to help us learn and to see things more clearly. And it's all, it does make a difference when you see that these things can help you move forward in your evolution. And that even though there's something that you don't like about yourself, it's an opportunity to find that love. It's an opportunity, even if the mind doesn't like it, it's an opportunity to accept it, that it is what it is, and embrace it on some levels. So I think that if we all had more self-acceptance
Yes.
that it would change the world. We wouldn't be objecting to what we object to in other people, because it's what we can't accept about ourselves that we have a hard time accepting in other people. But if we could just accept ourselves exactly the way we are and recognize that it's a gift to be in a body. It's a gift to have this wider range of emotions, even though we may not want to feel them, we may not want to feel some certain emotions. It's also a gift to feel that in this body, because on the other side of the veil, you don't have access to those emotions like you do here. There isn't, on the other side of the veil, things are in imperfection, and it's stagnant for growth purposes. And this is why we choose to incarnate on this challenging planet and have a physical body, but also have a wider range of emotions. We don't experience on the other side jealousy, impatience, frustration. Those are things that we can master and choose to learn about and from and move forward with them, rather than I remember one of my spirit guides saying to me one time, put down that wooden spoon that you keep beating yourself with and over the head, It's about recognizing how to give yourself love and acceptance, that's also part of the journey. It's not just about being gentle and patient with children or others or elderly, but being to yourself as well.
Oh, that's a very, very good point indeed. I'd like to welcome Julie Kiss, one of our regular supporters, and anyone else who has joined us here on Angel Heart Radio. Robbie, you mentioned how we see in other people what we choose not to see in ourselves. And that's a really good point, isn't it? I think that if somebody else is getting under my skin, I've learned to go, okay, so what is that something that I choose not to see in myself? And so I can look at the things that I don't want to look at. I can also, at times, I've come to realize that when I like something in someone else, that's something that I probably don't recognize in myself.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think, I don't know about you, but it certainly seems like it's taken a lifetime for me. I'm 66. It's taken a lifetime for me to appreciate being different. Not fitting in, and that's perfectly all right. That I'm really okay with it. But there are certain phases in your life where you just want to fit in. You don't want to be different, and you have a hard time accepting people who are different. Same thing, just like what you were just describing. So you realize the beauty in this diversity that this planet offers, the diversity of such a wide variety of people and expressions. And it can be a challenge at times, but that's what I like to ask myself, like you do. What is it that's creating this reaction in me? I like to look at it as, and it took years to get to this wisdom, Annette. I'll be honest with you, but it's kind of like, okay, this is an opportunity for you to grow. Why are you being triggered, and how is this here to help you grow? Because what I've been resistant to is a huge growth potential for me. So there are things placed on your path, and what you resist will persist. And so I've recognized that it's not necessarily about learning it's not about losing weight, because I have a sugar addiction, as you well know.
As do I, yes.
Yeah, we chocoholics can find each other in a crowd. But it wasn't about necessarily losing the weight from not eating that sugar. It was about, can you be gentle and kind with yourself in the process? The weight was not the goal. It's about, can you be gentle and kind with yourself as you learn to let go of that sugar addiction?
Right.
And that was what was more important, because I had my eyes focused on a different goal. It was about getting into that pair of pants, right? And it's about, if you do it, but you do it with such harsh measures. This is, and my guides told me, one of my guides said to me, this addiction that you have and your reaction to it, is the last harshness that you have towards yourself. And that's when I realized, oh, I didn't see the harshness about that. I was just seeing that I was failing at sometimes not giving up the sugar. And that's when I recognized it's about, can I be gentle and patient and compassionate with myself while I learn day to day to give up some of those things that my body does not enjoy.
Right. Yes, that can be a biggie too, because I looked at why was I seeking the sugar and when was I seeking it? And that
Good
was
point.
a big eye-opener too.
Yeah.
Comfort food.
Yes. Yes. I was craving. I don't even want to say what they were because I don't want to trigger anybody. But I was yesterday afternoon, I was craving something really sweet. It's out of the blue. And I've really pretty much given up sugar. I have my dark chocolate, but it's dark enough that it's not unhealthy. But I was craving really bad yesterday afternoon. I'm like, where did this come from? And I realized, oh, you're just really tired. You're just really tired. And for me, that's how it manifests. Is I start craving that sugar, and not, I have to kind of slow down, like you were talking about earlier, and just kind of stepping back and paying attention to what's really going on. It wasn't about the sugar. I just needed to sit down for a while, and ultimately fell asleep. So that's, but now I know better. Now I know, okay, are you thirsty? Are you hungry? Are you tired? Yeah.
Right. I find it interesting, Robbie, that a few years ago when I was dealing with letting go of the chocolate addiction, I was given chocolate for my birthday. I laughed at the irony. However, I had so much fun sharing it.
Yes.
And as the therapist I was with at the time said, Annette, just because you've got it doesn't mean that you have to eat it. And
all of it, yes.
This Easter, it's the same. I'm delighted in sharing the little solid eggs. Mind you, Robbie, last year I probably ate 3 packets myself over time because I absolutely adored them. But this year I'm a little different, and I think, well, great. You know, I enjoy, as you do, a little bit of chocolate, but certainly not what I was doing, you know, morning, noon and night. Let's
I hear you. I hear you. No, it takes, I think, first of all, you have to have an awareness, you know, before you can move beyond it. But I love how that happens when you're trying to overcome something. I have to tell you, so sometimes I can be challenged by these particular snacks that are salty, you know, texture. I won't tell you what it is, but because we're in COVID right now, I'm having food delivered, and it's this store that has gigantic proportions, and it was on sale, and I forgot it comes in this gigantic bag. And it's like, oh, it's on sale. I'm going to get, who knows when I'm going to order from this store again. It took me 3 trips from the front door to the cupboard. That's how much I got of this one thing. And it was kind of like, he was like, oh my gosh, I'm surrounded by this thing. Okay, then now is a great opportunity to learn how to live with it, you know? So I did give some of it away when I realized this is enough to feed an army. And I don't think you can ever get through all these, but I still had a lot more that I couldn't just walk away from. It was there. So I needed to learn how to live with it and be kind and gentle and patient with myself while I learned how to do that. And now I'm okay with it. Now I don't have a problem with it. But I realize it's not about not eating that. It's about, can you be really gentle with yourself while you're learning how to change your eating habits.
Yes. Now, you mentioned awareness. That's a really good point, because that's where we have to start, really, to be aware of what it is that's triggering us, if you like.
Yes.
And then, of course, being gentle. And I love Ina Segal, the way she says, you know, by the time something manifests in our physical body, we've had a concern for a long, long time.
That's true.
So one day, one session, 1 week isn't going to rid us of that problem. So we really do need to take those gentle steps and to acknowledge that, hey, we have taken that gentle step.
Mm-hmm. And be patient during that process. Yeah, that it's you know, for some people it's one day at a time, 1 moment at a time. But I suspect you're the same way. I really like to bring in help from the other side of the veil. I really like to lean on my guides and angels and ask them to help me with this. And I think I've told you this story before, but it just cracks me up. When I had asked them to help me get at the beginning of this to overcome this sugar addiction, because I knew that that was something that I was to master in this lifetime. So I asked for help because it makes a huge difference. They've told me it's like operating at 5 amps of power on your own versus 5,000 amps of power with their help. There's a huge difference when you allow them to help you. So I asked for help on letting go of this sugar addiction. And true story, my sister and I went into, I mean, it's free will planet, right? You can do what you want. You can still go get that ice cream cone, which I chose to do in that moment with my sister. Went into the ice cream store, came out, went to take the first lick, and that ice cream just tumbled right off the cone into the parking lot and just rolled down the pavement. And my sister just started laughing and she said, "Let's go get you another cone." And I'm like, oh no, I get it. I get it. They're helping me. I had asked for help and they were helping me overcome that sugar. So it's a free will, but I understand. And there was another time I was eating, I had asked them to help me clean up my food habits, right? And I asked the guides and angels to help me with this. And I was eating out of a bag of something I probably shouldn't have been eating out of. It wasn't meant to be eating out of a bag, right? And I just remember accidentally dropping it, and it just spills all over the kitchen floor. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You're helping. So I think that when we ask for help, they will step in and assist us. They're waiting because it's a free will planet. We need to ask them to assist.
Yep.
But they would love to help us with these things, and they do with so much love behind this. And it makes a huge difference because I found that when I asked them to help me love myself and totally accept myself, but to love myself ridiculous degrees, they helped me gain that awareness of where I wasn't. What there was, there's still a couple things I was having a hard time accepting in myself or loving it or embracing in myself. And it's just like, the teacher shows up, the book shows up, the Angel Heart Radio shows up just when you need it, so that you do learn to embrace all of you and realize what an honor it is to be in a body, what a gift it is to be in a body and to have these emotions, and that they're all here. It's about learning how to accept and love yourself exactly the way you are, and letting the divine qualities flow through you more often, rather than getting blocked by this, this cringing about certain things that you are and certain things that you've gone through, because quite often the soul wants you to experience that. It wants you to have gone through those experiences that some people have a really hard time accepting. I made a big mistake. I never should have married this man. I never should have done this or that or whatever. And it's like, that's all part of that acceptance, that the soul wanted you to go through that, very likely, and now come out the other side. Sure. Maybe you're here to master acceptance. Maybe that's what is on your soul's agenda for this particular journey. So you're going to have things that are really challenging to accept, that maybe society tells you or your family tells you you're not good enough the way you are, you're not worthy of love. And that may be exactly what you're here to learn in this lifetime, is, can you love yourself despite what other people or your culture tells you?
That is a big one. Julie's loving the conversation. Marcy has joined us, which is really good. And I like the way, Robbie, you've brought in your guides, because I know that's something that you can help people with if they're coming to this conversation for the first time. You know, there are lots and lots of people on this planet who are unaware that they have spirit guides and that they have help on the other side. All they need to do is ask. So I know through Holz Wellness, if people would like to go to holzwellness.com, that's HOLZ WELLENESS.com. Robbie, is there, you always have interesting articles up on your website. As I said earlier, you do have a newsletter as well that people can register for. You've usually got freebies as well, and you have sessions that you're happy to assist people, not only to find their guides, but also to find their own well-being.
Absolutely. And it's my guides and angels that are guiding me as to what information to put out, and they provide the information as well. So it's really about getting, I know you have the same passion, Annette, helping as many people as possible move towards wellness in body, mind, and spirit. And the happier and healthier and more connected they are, the better off it is for them and for everybody, for the whole planet ultimately. So there's a lot of free information that's up there on the website, because I know that what starts the disease is almost always emotions. And if you have a hard time accepting things, and let me just say that self-hatred is so toxic to the body. It's so hard on the body. It will create disease if it's left unchecked. Guilt and shame, extremely toxic to the body. I would say shame, guilt, and self-hatred are the hardest for the body to deal with. And if you keep building that up over time, the body just can't handle it anymore. And then depending on what your, genetic weakness is, or what particular thing, the emotions that you're dealing with, and where the energy is getting blocked and the body response to all that, will determine the disease. And Ina Siegel is fabulous. She's got a great book about, if you have certain emotions or you have certain diseases, here's the emotions that could be behind this. So it's the emotions that start this. And it's a lot easier to stop the disease by recognizing what emotions are creating those diseases. Then, like you said earlier, when you've got that physical stuff, it's a lot harder to heal it. So that's why, to me, the emotions are so important, and paying attention to, it's either fear-based or it's love-based. And so it's these fear-based emotions that we are here to learn how to move beyond, how to heal, and finally come to a reckoning with it and recognize you are divine, luminous being, extraordinary for just being here, incredibly brave, and exactly the way you need to be for this journey. It doesn't mean I'm saying go out and be dishonest or steal or whatever. I'm just saying that it helps you have an awareness of when you're not flowing with divine qualities, when you're blocking that love, when you're resisting. And so I think self-acceptance and self-love are just the cores sometimes to some of these other challenging emotions.
Right. I have this theory, Robbie, that COVID is here to teach us self-love. What do I believe? What is this showing me? What's happening in our lives? Because so many of us were on automatic pilot, if you like, you know, on a treadmill, because we were going to work and we were going to work in a certain way. And all of a sudden, we've had to look at our lives differently. And it's like, oh, so what is important in my life? What am I being stopped from being able to do that's important to me? And how else can I do those things?
And do I want to change them and come from the heart more so than the mind? Because I think a lot of us are so used to operating mindlessly, unconsciously. And this is an opportunity to catch your breath and gain more awareness about how we're living and recognizing things that we maybe not have taken the time to see before. I think COVID is here to teach us much. And it's the beginning, from what the guides are telling me, it's the beginning of an awakening process to help us gain awareness and to shift more consciously. It's because we cannot keep living the lives of such unconsciousness. We can't solve the world's problems from that same level of consciousness that created the problems. So it's about gaining more awareness and raising that consciousness. And that consciousness is more of a higher frequency and a higher vibration when you're in love-based emotions. And right now, the world has been living this lower frequency, lower vibrations of judgment, depression, materiality, anxiety. Those are very low frequencies, and that will lead to disease over time. And it's an opportunity to see it for what it is and say, I know this is what I've been raised with, and I know this is what I'm surrounded by, but does that feel true to me? You know? And so I think a lot of people are waking up to things that, you know, I know that you and I have both had life-threatening experiences in our life. And I was blessed that I almost died twice in my 30s. And I say blessed because it forced me to wake up at an earlier age.
Right.
And question things and search for things that most people don't take the time to do in their early 30s. But I was faced with, okay, I survived really slim odds twice. What am I going to do about that? And it put me on a path that was very different. And that's what I think COVID is doing, is it's provide an opportunity for people to sort of question things and examine things that we normally don't even think about, that mindlessness versus a more raised consciousness again.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And you touched on this earlier as well, Robbie. What happens in our lives is there for a reason. Yes, it's a planet of choice. However, if the universe wants us in a particular place or to learn a particular thing, wham, bam, we get shown big time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where you start recognizing that these experiences can provide opportunities for growth. And the bigger the opportunity, the bigger the leap in growth potential. So it's always, that's why I love asking when things show up in my path, okay, how is this here to help me grow? And some things can be really challenging. And I wrote an article about it, I think in the Newsweek, or the newsletter that went out before, that I was challenged by accepting certain things that had happened in my neighborhood. And I had to sort of step back and realize, okay, you're really resisting this. Why? Because the more you are attached to something, the more, that's where it's going to be peace or struggle, right?
Yes.
And so I had to realize, okay, my mind is really attached to things being the way they were. And it's time to, and my guides were like, oh, this is such a great opportunity for you to learn how to adjust and accept things, that something that your mind does not like at all. And so I know I would have a hard time with it myself. If it's just me in my mind, I would have a real big challenge with that. So that's when I'm like, okay, then help me accept it. Help me become at peace with this. And I have to say, I'm much better at it than I was before. They've given me insights. They send energy that I'm just more at peace about it. And I'm finding that I couldn't do that on my own, but I can really do it with their help.
Mm-hmm.
And that's available to everybody.
Sure.
Everybody.
Sure. Belinda Brown is saying, raising our vibration and lifting each other up in togetherness. And that, to me, yes, we need to spread the love, starting with ourselves, because as you said, Robbie, it's all very well to pass things on to other people. However, it's important that we fill ourselves as well, so that it's easier then to spread it around. And now Marcy is saying, I've been more aware of waste and how to recycle. Even if we have no toilet paper, there are old ways, which is quite true. Did you have a shortage over in America?
Well, everybody else did but me. I'm one of those people that, if there's ever an Armageddon, everyone should come to my house for toilet paper, just because I've had, first of all, how much toilet paper can one woman go through?
Yes.
But it's just one of those things. It's not going to waste. When it's on sale, I just buy it and leave it in the garage. And so it wasn't a problem for me. But I'll tell you what was interesting is watching the reaction of other people around that shortage. And it comes down to, again, it provided opportunities for people to share. It provided opportunities for people to move forward with fear, or move forward knowing I'm taken care of, it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the thing about COVID is it's just, there's growth opportunities everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere. And it is the beginning of an awakening of people. It takes a lot to get us to change. We are wired not to want to change. That's the way we're programmed. And so it takes a lot to get us to shift and change. And this is part of what's happening.
Mm.
So I have to become aware of, all right, what am I going to add to this right now? Because there's a lot of different anxieties out there, depression. Do I want to add more of that? Or can I add more peace, harmony, realizing this is an opportunity to try things that you normally wouldn't try, to learn to go down trails. I live on a beautiful place that has trails everywhere. And you know how, again, you get into those patterns, you just keep doing the same thing all the time. It's like, okay, now you have a little bit more free time on your hand. Why don't you try some of those trails that you've never tried before? Why don't you meditate longer and more often than you used to before? Why don't you use this as an opportunity to try a new hobby? So it's also an opportunity for me I decided, all right, my routine has been shaken up by this. I'm going to use it as an opportunity to raise my vibration. Consciously, daily, reading certain things, listening to certain music, listening to certain meditations, because otherwise we're so busy, right? Meditation's part of my day every day, but let's just take more time to do those things where you're consciously raising that vibration. And what a gift. What a gift. Because where you're in those higher frequencies, those higher vibrations, you're just at peace. It doesn't matter what's going on and what other people are choosing, you are at peace more. So,
indeed.
Yeah.
Good advice. Now, Belinda's saying the universe showed me something so mammoth this week. unbelievable confirmation of something I was unsure of. There is no question anymore. It blew her mind. Thank you for sharing, Belinda.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah. When you ask, it comes to you, not maybe the way you want it or desire it, but when you hand things over and ask for help, you really have to let go of how and when. And those signs do happen, that those synchronicities, it does show up. And I love that Belinda got to experience that and know, oh, this is help. This is coming through as I've asked for help. It's come through.
We do have to be specific, Robbie, don't we, in what we ask for, because if we're not specific, like interestingly, you asked to have help with your sugar problem, and so you didn't get to eat the ice cream. I think that one's beautiful.
Yeah, that's probably not the way I would have chosen it, or to, spill the contents of the bag all over the, but it took that abrupt, all right, what are you doing? This is not what you wanted to do. So, and then because we do get into these habits, we tend to have these habits that were so ingrained. They're patterns of behavior, but they're also patterns of thought. And we tend to think of ourselves in certain ways. We tend to have certain thoughts that are so under the surface that we're not aware of. And this is where it's an opportunity to become aware of, what part am I resisting? What part am I not loving? What part am I harsh about? For me, it was the addiction. I was still harsh towards myself. I should have done better. I should not have had 2 helpings of that. One would have been fine. But it's like, but it's okay. Learn to. That's what I love about, you have an opportunity. Okay, next time I'll do things differently. But I'm not going to beat myself up because I did it the way I did it today. But now I know better, and maybe I'll do better next time. Maybe I won't. But I'm not going to be, I'm going to take that wooden spoon out of my hand. That's what I'm going to do, is to stop that harshness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Belinda has gone on, Robbie, to say that she was in a place she never goes. I love this. The final confirmation, leaving no doubt in my mind, it wasn't the answer I wanted, but boy, am I thankful. So,
that's beautiful. I love that. Yeah. You will get the clarity, just it'll come when you need it most. I've said this before to people. Sometimes we really want that corner piece to the jigsaw puzzle, right? But sometimes you need these other pieces first before that corner piece will fit in and make sense. So I know I may not be where I want to be yet, but just hang in there. It'll come. Those insights will come, because that energy will come when you need it, and it'll all make sense. Yeah. You'll get the insights that you need, because this is about when you're ready to grow, when you're ready to move forward in consciousness and move forward in this evolution. There is a lot of help there. And they will make it very clear where you're resisting, what's still blocking, what the mind is refusing to let go of. Because that, to me, is what it's all about, Annette, is where is your mind still controlling you and taking you over, and you're becoming a slave to it. And it's about learning little bit by little bit. And this lifetime is here to show you where your mind is still resisting and not allowing the heart to open up.
Yes, I think Marcy is letting her heart open up, because she's saying she obviously liked ice cream and potato chips every night. I can identify.
Yeah.
Until she was overweight, and she doesn't want to be there. She'll never be there again. And that's That's important. Little by little. I don't know about you, Robbie. I tended to be on a bit of a cycle, and I'll go through stages where it's really easy not to eat sugar, and then there are other times where it's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
And it can be the texture. I agree with you. It's like, oh, I really like that texture.
Yeah.
So another piece and another piece.
Yeah. But to me, the key is, can you love yourself no matter what your weight is? Even though you don't like it, can you accept yourself even overweight? Even if you are getting that, if that sugar is getting the better hand of you sometimes, that's, to me, the bigger picture.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. So getting back to the mirror, are we able to stand in front of the mirror naked and say, I love you? And I know for me, that's a real tough one. It's like, whoa, it's easy to stand there in clothes. It's not so easy to stand there.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I love that idea of doing it in the mirror without the clothes on, and say, because it is a gift to have a body, you know, and you start recognizing it's just the culture, it's society, it's our family maybe, that, or our spouse or whatever, that tells us we are not worthy of love exactly the way we are, even with the love handles or the muffin tops or whatever. And that's where you realize, oh, that's the real picture there. That's the overlying picture of what's really going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, your friend Londa has joined us.
Oh, hi, Londa.
And she's saying, standing naked in our divinity. Let's get naked. And that's more than just physically, isn't it? That's what we've been talking about all morning.
Yeah.
Getting naked, getting down, opening, being able to look at ourselves completely as we are.
That's a beautiful expression that Londa just used, being naked in our divinity.
Yes.
And I think that the more awake you become, the more you realize that you are, and I love this when I heard this, you are not, because we are divinity. We are divine, luminous beings. We are not, if you look at divine source, creator, God, goddess, whatever that means to you, as the ocean, we are not a drop of the ocean. We are the ocean in a drop. And that's a big difference. And when you realize that you are not this diluted, you are divine, exactly the way you are. If we had any idea how extraordinary we are, we would not begin to have these emotions that we have towards ourselves that are negative. Because love is the absence of negativity and judgment about yourself. So that's the question, Annette, is where am I judging myself? Where am I still having, we might not even think of it as negativity, but where am I judging myself still? Because that's one of the things that you might be here in this lifetime to finally let go of. And that's where I say, when you bring in help from the other side, it makes it much, much easier to do.
Yes, yes. So that's a very strong message this morning, isn't it? Today, to say to people, okay, are you aware of your guides? Are you using your guides for the assistance that they have there for us?
Most guides and angels are underutilized. Yes, without a doubt. And every person on the planet has a guardian angel by their side. Whether they're aware of them, whether they believe in them, every single person has a guardian angel by their side. And they're the easiest to communicate to. You know, I mean, there's so much help available to us. You know, you have deceased you have ancestors, you have deceased family members who have passed over, you have spirit guides, but the guardian angels are the easiest to communicate to. And that's why I wrote that book, Vibrant Living, Braving the Pandemic with Help from Your Guardian Angel. It wasn't necessarily about the pandemic, but it was about recognizing you've got this amazing, incredibly loving being by your side from your first breath to your last breath, who wants to help you more, who can do so much more if you ask. But because it's a free will planet, they can't just step in. And I've used this example before. It's like a child wanting to learn how to tie their shoes, right? And they might make a big tangled mess of those laces. There's nothing wrong with that. The tangling is part of the learning process. But when that child turns to that parent and says, can you help me with this? Then the parent steps in and assists in the way that's appropriate for that child. And it's the same thing here. Our guardian angels will always respond. They're like the first responders. They're the first in line to assist us. And that we are designed to be able to communicate with them through our clairsentience, where you feel with your body. Every person is clairsentient, where you feel their guidance with your intuition, your body. They will respond to you every single time, but very important, they will do so according to the highest and best good of all and your soul's intentions. Souls want you to be happy and healthy and move beyond negativity and fear. So when you ask them to help you let go of this stuff, they have the green light. They have permission. They have laws that they have to abide by, the guardian angels do, just as the spirit guides and the other angels do. But when you ask them to help you let go of this mind stuff, this fear-based stuff, and move into love, they've all got the green light on that one. And so they can assist you. Again, that 5 amps of power on your own versus 5,000 amps of power with their help. Huge difference, tremendous difference.
Yes, 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 yes. Marcy is saying she has psychic abilities, and she's reiterating that, yes, you must ask for help. Watchers, audience, Robbie is fabulous at helping us to be the best that we can be. So if you would like to use Robbie's services, please visit Holz Wellness. Now that's HOLZ wellness.com, and reach out if you'd like to know or get in touch with your guides. Maybe you're hearing this kind of talk for the first time. There's no mistakes there either. It's because we all come to this. Robbie, you said earlier how you'd had the experiences that put you on a particular path, and you're right. I've had exactly similar situation. What my experiences have put me on to this path. So, and we all have that opportunity, depending on what's in our lives, and do we see the opportunity? Some of us have been pushed to the brink, as you were. They really wanted you to get onto the path that you're on, and sometimes we don't realize why we're in a particular situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's recognizing that, here's the thing about guardian angels. They are there. This is why they're called guardian angels. They're there to make sure that you're not harmed or killed or experience something your soul doesn't want. So if you've gone through something, chances are that your soul really wanted you to go through that. And even though our minds may not have liked it, it's time that's where you step back and say, okay, maybe I'm here to learn deeper levels of forgiveness. Maybe I'm here to learn how to love myself despite what society says. Maybe I'm here to learn deeper, richer levels of self-love or acceptance. Maybe I'm here to learn acceptance of other people and let them choose their path according to what they're here to learn at the pace that they're here for. And so this is where you start to become aware, I seem to have this recurring theme. And that's one of the things that I do with people in that hour consult is I help them recognize, okay, this is what this lifetime is really about. And I have to tell you, when I tell people, they almost every time, Annette, when I say, okay, this is what your soul really wants you to master this lifetime, and this is why these things have happened. When I tell them that, they always go, oh yeah, I get it now. Because now they understand the bigger picture and why these things kept happening, or why these different things, as challenging and painful as some of them have been, why they needed to go through that. You know, how can you reach deeper levels of forgiveness if you haven't mastered it? So, you know, you keep getting these opportunities, but we weren't designed to be having to do this on our own. As you well know, there is tremendous help available to us on the other side of the veil. But because it's a free will planet, just like that child learning how to tie laces, pain and struggle is part of the process. But many of us are creating way more pain and struggle than it's necessary. We are tangling those laces up way more than we ever needed to, right? So it's about recognizing it doesn't have to be this hard. Allow some help. It makes a huge difference. Help me master this.
How do we master this? That's a good question. And look who's joining us. Rosemary Butterworth.
Yay. Hi, Rosemary.
Hello, Robbie. I've been so looking forward to meeting you.
It's so nice to see you again. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, darling. I'm really, really well. It's lovely to see you.
Yeah.
I've just been talking about you to a client, actually, and telling her the story of you coming and how you wrote The Secrets of Aboriginal Healing and all that, you know. She said, what's her name? I have to get that book and, you know. So I've just left her.
Such a lovely time hanging with you. It was just so, it was, I don't know how, it's so heartfelt, Rosemary, my time with you.
It was.
Yeah.
I was telling her I cried when you left.
Oh my gosh. You know, and I have to tell you, I don't know if you remember this, but we visited your daughter and she gave me yeah, we did. I think it was the last day I was with you. And she gave me a painting that she had made. And it's right here on my altar. And I see it every day. And it's a remembrance of help from the other side of the veil. It really struck a chord in me. I know I cried when she gave it to me. So yeah, there are so many parts about that trip. Yeah, it was very lovely. Yeah. And speaking of wise, oh my gosh, Annette, so nice to have Rosemary on because this woman is so wise, so far ahead of her time in so many ways.
Can I share something with you that I feel is really important because it happened to me this week? That be all right?
Oh, love it.
Well, a couple of mornings ago, I just knew I had a presence with me. You know how you feel somebody's with you? And I realized it was Jeshua ben Joseph, Jesus.
Wow.
And I haven't felt his energy like that for a long time. You know, Archangel Michael's with me every day, but not Jesus. And then it wasn't exactly that he was talking with me, but he was just giving me impressions. And the impression, so I'm putting this in my own words, it's not what he said to me, but he wanted me to become aware of Saturday, this coming Saturday. And I said, okay. And then it was like, increase your awareness, Rosemary, you know, wake up, increase your awareness. And then it was the knowing. It was as though he was asking me to know what happened on the Saturday after he went through the crucifixion. Then after that, after the resurrection. And then I realized what he wanted me to be aware of was the energy that was released at that time changed the whole consciousness of the world. And then I knew he was trying to remind me that that energy is still here now, and to be aware of it on Easter Saturday.
Wow. That's so powerful. Yeah.
And I knew then I could tell everybody by telling you today that the energy to change the whole world that was released 2,000 years ago is here today.
Yeah. Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah. If we meditate on it, which we will, because I'll be on Zoom on Saturday. If we meditate on it together, how powerful would that be?
Yeah. Yeah.
These
These are the changes, the reminders we need. Yeah.
That's what I thought. And that's what he came to remind me. Wow. That energy, use it, connect to it. It's still here.
Yeah.
From all those years ago.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. I completely forgot that this weekend is Easter. And, you know, my mind gravitates towards Easter in the Americanized version of it, right? The baskets, the egg hunting, and you forget what's really it's about. You know, this energy that's released, the seeding of this consciousness. Yeah. That's beautiful. Oh, thank you for that reminder. Wow, what a powerful message.
Thank you. Thank you, Annette, for letting me be here to share it with you. And
Well, see how things are set up. I am flabbergasted at times, I think, in awe of just how the universe works and has us where we are meant to be. Robbie, it reminds me of that story. I'd love you to share with us about Archangel Michael stepping in when you and Raven missed the flight.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, he stepped in so many times. Oh.
Well, if you've got another one.
No. That's a good one. I mean, I do, trust me, especially when we were in Australia, we had so many interesting experiences, but it just shows you again, it really is child's play for them to manipulate things, but they have their own, you know, they have to wait till we're ready for it. But when we were in Australia, and it was such a blessed time, it was such an amazing opportunity. Raven and I were here from the United States. We had gone there because we were going to be in the outback with ceremonies with Aboriginal tribes women. And it was a real honor to be invited. It was the first time they'd done it. It was a small group of people. And we were to go into the outback and perform ceremonies with these Aboriginal women. And, you know, I'm sure, as you know, when you travel, you lose track of what day it is, what time it is. And especially when you go to Australia and you guys are a day ahead of us. And so we put our hands in this very capable couple who lovingly took care of us and our needs. And they dropped us off at the airport and we went to get on our flight and found out that we were a day late. The flight to the outback to join the ceremony was the day before. And we realized if we had gone when we were to catch that flight, we would not have been with this group of healers who were so powerful and beautiful and so humble and had no idea what they were doing. Because Mother Mary was coming through Raven and she wanted to be with that group of healers. And we would not have been able to do that if we had caught the flight on time. So we show up, we keep putting our tickets in the kiosk and it keeps coming back. It won't accept it. And the guy walks by and, you know, in Australia, they're like, oh, no worries, you know, no worries. So he takes this, he said, and he took it to the counter and he said, oh, this flight took off the day before. Now we both knew we're supposed to be in the outback with that group. We just knew that was supposed to happen. so he took us to the counter, and the guy's typing away, and he's trying to find a flight, and you could see the guy getting really flustered, and so much for the no worries part, right? And then Raven can see, she has the ability to see into the other dimensions, and she can see that Archangel Michael is behind the guy at the computer, and Archangel Michael will just press a key, and all of a sudden the screen pops up, and the guy's like, oh, there's a flight leaving within an hour. You can catch it. And so it was Archangel Michael that was typing the keys that presented that flight that guy couldn't find. And so I couldn't see Archangel Michael. I didn't know. I just knew we were supposed to be on that flight. We were supposed to see those healers the day before. So I said to the guy, we were so overjoyed. I said, I am so grateful. I promise you, when I have a grandchild, we will name that child after you. What is your name? And he said, I believe he said his name was Michael. Just and Raven starts laughing so hard, and I didn't know why. I had no idea, but it was just like, this is so easy for them. It's that mind just not wanting to trust. And I'm sure. Well, Rosemary's so advanced that she knows something's going on, but I'm sure that okay, there's a message here. It'll come through from Yahshua. It's just about letting it flow, and it came through. What a beautiful message. Thank you for reminding us that is here, and that joining together, that I'm sure you guys know this, but the more I go down the path, the more I realize the more people that you have, even if it's just two, it does really increase that energy exponentially. So we do have the power. We do have the ability to change things. That's what's happening now.
Right. That's right.
Yes. What a wonderful note to finish on. The fact that we do have the power. And it's up to us, each one of us, to love ourselves and to embrace our lives, warts and all, because we learn the most through adversity.
Yes.
So I'm just so delighted to have had the company of you two wonderful women. Thank you, thank you. And to our audience, to those who joined us in the chat room, thank you, because you added to the program. And to those who watch this at any stage, I trust that you will be inspired and empowered, because we can change the world for the better. Let's do it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, ladies, very, very much.
Thank you.